Hey guys, welcome back to Buff's Vintage Bikes. So if you don't follow my Instagram page, you won't be aware that something happened to me a little while ago. This is what happens when an old bully like myself tries to ride with youngsters, and you got guys in the group that don't quite understand bunch riding etiquette and don't call out rocks in the road. So unfortunately we had about 15 riders hit the deck at about 60 k's an hour on one of our training rides. I unfortunately ended up breaking my collarbone again, and I picked up some damage on my knee, and it's given me a few weeks off the bike, and it's given me time to think of some crazy ideas. And this video is going to be about one of those crazy ideas, namely this South African built steel frame behind me. In this video I'm going to share with you a little bit of what I've got planned for this steel frame. So let's get into it. So what do we know about this frame? Well, for a start, it's an Alpina. So Alpinas were manufactured in South Africa in the 80s and 90s. The bike itself appears to be owned by Giantjes, which is a very traditional South African Afrikaans name. So I'm assuming he obviously raced the bike back in the day. It's got 500 stamped at the bottom of the BB. So I'm assuming it's made from Reynolds 500 tubing. Now what I'm able to find online is that Reynolds 500 tubing was their traditional chrome moly straight gauge tubing. And if you look at the size of the lugs on this bike, it looks like it can handle a nuclear blast. And the way I fall off of bicycles might be a good thing. You can see it's my test bike as well for some spray painting. It's got a little bit of lug lining on it. Some gold I tested when I did that Rally 753 spray job. Some random airbrush marks on it and stuff like that. Some very rudimentary cable guiding. Just two holes in the top tube that have been gusseted, but no guide tube laid into the frame at all, unless it broke at some stage and came out. But I think this frame is going to be perfect for what I have in mind. And that is to turn this thing into a vintage steel gravel grinder. So we're going to scratch through the parts bin. We're going to see if we can find a fork that will work on here. Unfortunately, this frame never had a fork with it. It's been hanging in the rafters for ages, and I've just been waiting for an opportunity to find something to do with it. And because it's not a top-end bike or top-end frame, I'm thinking this project might just be great for it. This is the fork part bin. That'll work. Also a South African built fork. Lejeune. They were built by Francois de Toy. Yeah, that'll work fine. That'll work. Got enough steerer here. Seems pretty robust enough. It has eyelets for a fender. Not that we're going to need that. Should stop me from losing my teeth on a gravel road. Should we weigh it? Got a funny feeling I'm going to be in for a rude shock. Might be a good thing though. At least I know I'll have to go on diet. Let's put it on the scale. My goodness, 2.47 kgs. Okay, that's quite heavy. To give you an idea, I think Reynolds 531 tubing in a 55 normally comes in at about 1.8 to 1.9 kgs. So, hey, what's a few grams between friends there? Let's try the fork. 0.84 kgs. So what's that? 2.7, 0.84. Around about 3.3 kilos. Wow. Okay. So this might not be the lightest steel bike that we're going to race. I think we're going to go one by and find a way to make this thing light. Fun times. So what's the idea here? Like I said, steel vintage gravel grinder. We're going to put a group set on it. I don't want to spend money on this project. It's really just a fun project. So I'm thinking find an old 9-speed STI Grupo, maybe even 8-speed, I don't know, whatever we can get our hands on. Scratch through the parts bin. I've got a couple of wheels hanging up here. Find a wheel set that we can slap on it. Something that can possibly take 32Cs, maybe even 35s. These old frames, they were designed very much as commuter type of bikes, so they should be able to handle at least a 32C tire on it. And we find an event, maybe a 100-miler. I don't know, maybe that's too much. Maybe a 50-miler. Anyway, we go out there and we race it on this bike. And I think part of the reason why I want to do this is to show people that you don't actually need a carbon fiber gravel bike costing in the region of South African 200k price tags to go out there and enjoy a ride. You can still have a fairly solid ride on a bike like this. Tour de France riders are doing Strade Bianchi on 28C tires on carbon race bikes. I mean, even the gravel world champs were ridden on normal road bikes, not on gravel bikes. So why would these be any different? It's going to weigh a little bit more. Absolutely it is. It's going to be a bit sturdier to ride. Actually, it'll probably be better on gravel. It's really going to sit well on the road. We've done in South Africa our Eroica over here. It's just insane. The roads are much more rough than a person would expect. I was fortunate enough to spend some time in Italy this year, and I did those white roads of Strade Bianchi with the Italian Eroica. Those things are like manicured gravel compared to some of the stuff we have in South Africa. And we successfully ride those roads on vintage steel bikes with 28C tires. So there's no reason why a person can't race a vintage steel bike. And we're going to have some fun doing it as well. And in case you think I've lost the plot entirely, I actually do own a gravel bike. I've got a rather nice giant Revolt, meets all my gravel needs currently. I've done a 180k race on it before, and the whole time during that race I thought to myself, you know what, I could be doing this on a steel vintage bike if the ratios were right. So I haven't lost it entirely. We're just going to have a little bit of fun with this project and see where it goes. Maybe I'm going to prove to everybody that it's not a good idea. Let's hope not. You guys still here? Good stuff. Okay, enough with the rambling. Give me some ideas on what you should do with the paint over here. Should we stick with the patina, just flat down all the rust spots? I mean, there is rust on this frame, but this thing is so thick it's going to take 800 years for this rust to eat through it, so I'm not too worried about it at all. I'm not digging that black and silver fork. You need to do something there. Just rub it down, give it a clear coat. Keep it like really rough and ready, patinaed. Let me know what you think about it. I really don't want to get pedantic about this, because if I get too stuck into it, then I don't know where to stop with these things. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole at all. And I'm going to do a little bit of a series on this, maybe 3-4 videos. The next video we'll do the wheel set and the Grupo. We can find it, maybe then the frame. And then I'm going to take this bike and I'm going to do a race with it. So come along and join me. Give me a couple months just to get fit before I do a race on it, of course. And it'll be the first video of me actually doing a race, so it should be rather entertaining. And yeah, we're going to have some fun, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share the video, and the ding dong notification thing if you want to be notified of when the next video comes out on it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.